What's going on, Go Nation? I'm back with another video, and today I'm gonna be reacting to the Cosmic Wonder. Marvel Studios making huge changes, canceled shows, firing, rewrites, explained. Oh no, Marvel. Thank you. We need a change around here. You know what I mean? Because I've said it many times before. Phase 4 and 5, the movies, the shows have been lacking. We ain't lacking no more. We ain't lacking no more. You're gonna catch me lacking. Oh, what am I talking about? Anyways, I just want to jump straight into this video. This video seems very interesting. I want to see what's going on. So before we do that, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Leave a comment or two. You already know what to do. Why am I saying the outro? Why am I saying the outro? Anyways, just don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 200 subs. I don't know why I was saying the outro, but let's just jump into it.
Marvel Studios is switching up a lot of what they have been doing in Phase 4 and Phase 5 of the MCU, and we're about to see some pretty big changes come to Phase 5 and the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
That's what we need.
And not just for Phase 5 and Phase 6, but what Marvel Studios is doing is going to infect the future of the MCU even after Avengers Secret Wars. This is going to go into Phase 7, Phase 8, and beyond. You might have heard that Marvel Studios has reportedly considered canceling many projects lately. This is true, and they have also been firing people internally as well. Now, this can all sound pretty bad on the surface, and of course, it's unfortunate for those people involved with the projects that are going to be canceled and those being let go from Marvel Studios. However, the reason that all of this change is happening at Marvel Studios is so they can become better. We'll dive deep into it, but it's been recently revealed that Kevin Feige essentially hears everything, and he listens. He listens to the criticism. He listens to the criticism of the critics, his peers, the people who work at Marvel, who work at Disney, but most importantly, he listens to the fans. Because after all, the fans are what drive everything. And it's also been made pretty clear that Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios use hype to their advantage. However, at the same time, I do want to note that Kevin Feige does listen to criticism from the fans. However, he doesn't let them control what Marvel Studios does. Kevin Feige has plans and he follows through on those plans. However, of course, with each project that comes with each Disney Plus show and each Marvel movie, he grows and he learns from the past. Recently, there was a book that was released that a lot of people are talking about right now. It's called MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios. The authors of this book, who come from the industry, interviewed over 100 different people who are all involved with the MCU. The book is being talked about a lot right now, and we're going to go over many different things that are in that book throughout the course of a few different videos, but it's being talked about so much right now because it tells us the juicy inside stuff about Marvel Studios, kind of some of the drama that goes down, and one of the authors even stated, "This is the book Marvel doesn't want you to read." It's packed with a lot of inside information that we didn't really know until this book was published because of all the interviews they did and the information and knowledge that they gained. I bring this up in this video because they talk about Kevin Feige, and they actually praise Kevin Feige in pretty great detail. There have been some fans out there recently stating that Kevin Feige did a great job before but isn't doing such a good job now, and somebody new should come in, but I don't agree with that. I think for those who haven't been enjoying the MCU too much recently, it can definitely bounce back under the reign of Kevin Feige, because he has been there from the very beginning with Marvel since X-Men in 2000. He was an associate producer on that film, and of course he built the MCU. Don't get me wrong, he wasn't the only person, but he's been with Marvel for a very long time, and of course he's been the president of Marvel Studios for a long time now as well. But most importantly, he is a true fan. I think recently he might have had his hands really full with all of the Disney Plus shows, working those in with the movies had to be hard, and he didn't have as much time as he normally had to dedicate to each project because there were so many projects, which is why they are making some of these changes to the MCU now. This is why they're canceling some of the shows, and their focus is shifting. Many insiders have stated recently that Marvel Studios is going to be cutting back on some Disney Plus shows, and Kevin Feige and Bob Iger, the man running Disney right now, even stated this as well. They said they're going to release fewer Disney Plus shows, and the rate at which they release them is also going to decrease. And like I mentioned, you probably heard of some shows being completely rewritten or canceled recently. The authors who wrote this book say that they've heard the Wonder Man series has been scrapped. However, some insiders say differently. We'll have to wait and see on that, but one big thing is the Daredevil series. They are completely rebooting what they had already written. It's starting over from scratch. The show's not canceled. However, they did not like what they had. Kevin Feige was not okay with it. The authors of the book noted that Marvel Studios doesn't exactly alter their plans because of the fan reactions. A good point of this is Marvel Studios continuing to make Captain Marvel 2 or The Marvels, even though a lot of fans have spoken out and said that they don't really like the first Captain Marvel film and they don't really like Brie Larson. Clearly, Marvel Studios has seen all these fans talk about this, they've heard this, but they're not changing their course for what they had planned. One of the authors, Joanna Robinson, states they aren't listening. Kevin Feige has plans and he follows through on them when he can, but she also credits him for being flexible if they don't work out. They state the recent Daredevil Born Again news was an example of Kevin Feige course correcting. Basically, Kevin Feige looked at what they had for Daredevil Born Again, he wasn't okay with it and said, start over. We're gonna do this right. It's gonna be a good show. These characters are going to be great. We're doing it right. The same thing goes for these other shows that are being rewritten or canceled and the reason that these people are being fired. And Marvel Studios is really beginning to clean up shop. As far as firings go over at Marvel Studios, yes, they have fired quite a bit of people recently. And recently they have rewritten or have started to rewrite a lot of scripts. Recently, Marvel has fired writers and directors. Why? Because they're gonna get it right. They're not satisfied with what they've been doing. They hear fans. Trust me, they hear fans. They know that there are a lot of fans out there that aren't really satisfied. So what are they doing? Working really hard to make sure the rest of Phase 5 and Phase 6 is going to be phenomenal. And they started that with two of their biggest upcoming movies, Avengers King Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars. The writers for both of those movies who already wrote for previous Marvel films were fired. Jeff Loveness, who wrote Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, was originally supposed to write and was hired by Marvel Studios to write Avengers: The King Dynasty. And Michael Waldron, who wrote Loki Season 1 and wrote Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, was hired to write Avengers: Secret Wars. Unfortunately, we heard that they were let go. The reason most likely being the so-called failures of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I wouldn't really call them failures, but Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania didn't do too well in the box office, and a lot of fans did complain about Quantumania and Multiverse of Madness. However, I think they're fine films. But since they didn't do incredibly well at the normal standard that Marvel has, they're bringing in new writers. Destin Daniel Cretton, who directed Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, was also supposed to direct Avengers: King Dynasty, but according to some recent reports, he is no longer going to direct that film. Marvel is making a ton of changes, but it's all going to lead up to a soft reboot of the MCU. And from there, Marvel Studios' focus is entirely going to shift. Right now, Marvel Studios is in a weird spot where we kind of have some of the original Avengers, but they're introducing a lot of new characters. However, once the soft reboot happens, the MCU is going to completely change because from there, they're going to focus on, yes, new characters, but new characters that everybody knows and typically loves. Characters like the X-Men, so Cyclops, Professor Xavier, Storm, Jean Grey, Magneto, Nightcrawler, Kitty Pryde, etc. All of the X-Men that people love. Then of course the Fantastic Four, and then groups like the Midnight Suns going into the supernatural side of the MCU, which Kevin Feige said that they are going to fully embrace. Then they are still going to have characters like Spider-Man, who of course everybody knows and loves still. So right now, Marvel Studios is kind of in a limbo phase. And don't get me wrong, they have an amazing plan for Phase 5 and Phase 6 of the MCU, and Avengers: The King Dynasty and Secret Wars and Deadpool 3 should be fantastic. But it is kind of going to be the end of an era for the MCU. It's kind of going to be the end of the Avengers era. And from there, it's going to dive into the groups that I just mentioned. So Marvel Studios is really changing their plans, not only internally and structurally with the releases of how they do the Disney Plus shows and their movies, but also how they focus each project. So we have a lot to look forward to from now until Avengers: Secret Wars, but then we have a lot to look forward to after as well. And it's great to know that Marvel Studios really is trying to adapt and change and get better so that fans can enjoy the content more. And out of everything that they have up and coming, including the things past Phase 6 like the X-Men and the Midnight Suns, etc., let us know what you are most excited for in the comments down below.
And honestly, I'm most excited for Fantastic Four. Because, you know, I really love the Fantastic Four and the family aspect between them. But hey, leave it in the comments below. Who do you guys want to see in their new reboot? I guess it's going to happen after Phase 6, I believe. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Leave a comment or two. You already know what to do. Go Nation. I'm outie.